As I said previously, the Portuguese beat out the Spanish when it comes to exploring the world, right? They beat them out by at least a decade, right? So as the Portuguese are exploring the rest of the world, the Catholic Church is going to start granting them basically rights over these large territories. For example, 1481, Pope Sixtus IV issues a bull. I'm not going to give you the name, don't worry about it. But a papal bull, it's kind of like a declaration. The Pope declared that pretty much anything that in Africa and east towards towards India belongs to Portugal, right? So so the Portuguese, they're liking that. But as you know, the Spanish, although they get everything, they start they start exploring later than the Portuguese. But as they start, going into the world, you're going to see that the Pope in 1493, a man named Alexander VI, issues his own bull, his own declaration, which pretty much favors the Spanish. Now, can you guess what ethnicity Alexander VI was? Oh, yeah, he was Spanish. His given name was Rodrigo Borgia, right? If you've ever seen, there's a couple of series on the Borgias. This is the Pope that it's based on, and he was Spanish. So basically, Portugal got the Scroogey, and Spain got everything. So what gives? How are you going to therefore mediate and compromise this type of situation? Well, you negotiate. You negotiate with the Pope. And thus we have what's known as the Treaty of Tordesillas. Now, you've probably heard this as the line of demarcation, is another term for it. But what does the Treaty of Tordesillas do? It splits the world pretty much between Spain and Portugal. It draws a line. Imagine right now a map of North America. And it draws a line right through the, north and south, right through pretty much halfway through Brazil, going north and south, all the way up and all the way down, right? There's a line there. And basically anything east of that line, and I don't know if my hand direction is going correctly, so don't follow my hands here. Anything east of that line belongs to Portugal. So we're talking about mainly Asia and Africa. And anything west of that line is going to remain in Spanish hands. So the Americas for the most part. All right. So, of course, that line, though, kind of gives you a little bit of an exception to this rule, though, because the line goes right through Brazil. What are you going to do about Brazil? It's like, well, you know what? Brazil is, first of all, was settled first by the Portuguese, and the line goes through Brazil. Therefore, Brazil remains in Portuguese hands. Thus, Brazil is one of the only other countries that actually speaks Portuguese, and that's the reason why. So the Treaty of Tordesillas is going to split the world, split all these new territories between the Spanish and the Portuguese. The Spanish gets everything west of that line that I described, and the Portuguese gets everything east of that line. So the Spanish, they get all of these nice gold and silver rich territories. What does Portugal get? Well, Portugal gets Africa. And remember, as I said in the previous video, the Portuguese will end up dominating just the world's slave trade, right? And their land grant of Africa certainly is going to confirm this, and so the Portuguese can actually control whatever labor the Spanish need for their colonies, particularly as the Native Americans, both North, Central, and South America, don't really work out too well when it comes to forced labor needs in the New World.